Fine girl like you should not be suffering, the man said, his voice low and confident as he slid the small velvet box across the table. Victoria smiled, slow and controlled, her fingers brushing the box like she already owned whatever was inside. She didn't know that one day, a single missing item, one quiet visit, and one powerful man would turn her life into something she would beg to escape. But that was later. Right now, Victoria was winning. In Lagos, people didn't need to ask who she was. They already knew. Victoria, the hottest girl in Lagos. Not because she said it herself. Because the city said it for her. Anywhere she went, heads turned. At salons, girls paused mid-conversation to watch her walk in. At lounges, men adjusted their seats just to catch a better view. Even women who didn't like her couldn't deny it. "She's too fine," they would whisper. "But that kind of beauty comes with a price," others would reply quietly. Victoria didn't care about the whispers. She cared about results. She came from Ajigaنا, a place where life didn't wait for anyone to be ready. Her mother, Mama Titi, woke up before dawn every day to fry akara by the roadside. By 6 a.m., smoke had already settled into her wrapper, and sweat ran down her back as she flipped bean cakes into hot oil. That was the life Victoria grew up seeing. Struggle. Sweat. Counting coins. Managing hunger. She hated it. Each time she watched her mother return home tired, carrying small nylon bags and smaller money, something inside her hardened. "I will not live like this," she used to tell herself.
I have to change my life.
And what she had was beauty. At first, it started harmless. A guy in a car offered her a ride. Another sent her airtime. Another bought her lunch. Victoria noticed something quickly. Men responded to her differently. Not just because she was fine. Because she knew how to carry it. She didn't rush. She didn't beg. She spoke softly, laughed lightly, and looked at men like they were lucky to be noticed. And they believed it. Soon, the gifts became bigger. A phone. Shoes. Hair. Money. Victoria adjusted fast. She learned how to dress like she belonged in places she couldn't afford. She learned how to sit in restaurants without looking lost. She learned how to hold a glass of wine like she had always known the taste. And most importantly, she learned how to make men feel important. That was the real key. By 22, Victoria had left Ajiganá for a small apartment on the island. It wasn't fully hers, one man paid for it, but she didn't care. To her, it was proof. She had escaped. One evening, as she stood in front of her mirror applying lip gloss, her friend Anita lay on the bed watching her. "Babe," Anita said, shaking her head, "sometimes I just wonder how you do it." Victoria smirked. "Do what?" "Everything. Money, attention, soft life, like you just unlocked Lagos." Victoria turned slightly, admiring herself. "Lagos is simple," she said. "If you package yourself well, life will answer you." Anita laughed. "Say that again. I need to record it." Victoria rolled her eyes. "I'm serious. Look at those girls struggling. They're fine, but they don't know how to use it. Beauty is an opportunity. If you don't use it, you're wasting it." Anita nodded slowly. "So what's the plan?" "Marry rich." Victoria scoffed. "Marriage? For what? To start cooking and asking permission?" "No, thank you. I'm here to enjoy first." They both laughed. But outside that laughter, Lagos was listening. And Lagos has a way of answering people exactly how they ask. A few days later, Victoria decided to visit her mother. She drove into Ajiganá in a borrowed car, music loud, sunglasses on, confidence full. Children gathered immediately. Neighbors peeped. Some greeted loudly. Others just stared. Mama Titi came out of the house, wiping her hands on her wrapper. When she saw the car, then saw Victoria step out of it, she paused. "My daughter," she said slowly. "You are doing well." Victoria smiled, proud. "I told you I won't suffer." Her mother stepped closer, studying her face carefully. "You look different." "That's what money does," Victoria replied lightly. Mama Titi didn't smile. "Money doesn't change a person like this. Something else is following it." Victoria frowned. "Mommy, please. Don't start." "I'm serious," her mother said quietly. "Where is this money coming from?" Victoria folded her arms. "I'm not stealing. I'm not doing anything bad." Mama Titi held her gaze. "There are things worse than stealing." Victoria's expression hardened. "See, I didn't come here for a lecture. I came to greet you." Her mother sighed deeply. "My daughter, not everything that shines is blessing. Some things shine because they are covering darkness." Victoria looked away, irritated. "This is Lagos, not village. Things are different here." Mama Titi shook her head slowly. "Lagos is still under the same sky. And that sky sees everything." Victoria didn't respond. She hugged her mother briefly, dropped some money on the table, and left. As she drove away, she didn't notice her mother standing at the door, watching her with quiet fear. Because somewhere ahead, a man had already noticed Victoria. And unlike the others, he wasn't just looking at her beauty. He was watching her hunger. "Send her over," the man said calmly, his fingers tapping once on the table. "I want to see her myself." Victoria didn't hear those words that night. All she knew was that the manager of the luxury lounge was walking toward her table with unusual respect. "Good evening, madam," he said, lowering his voice slightly. "A VIP guest would like to invite you over." Anita's eyes widened immediately. "Babe, who?" The manager tilted his head toward the far end of the room. Victoria followed his gaze. And that was when she saw him. Chief Balogun. He didn't look like the usual men who chase girls in that place. He wasn't loud, wasn't laughing, wasn't trying to impress anyone. He sat quietly in white agbada, one hand resting on a gold-topped walking stick, two men standing behind him like shadows. But his presence filled the room more than the music. Anita grabbed Victoria's arm. "That man is serious money. I've heard about him." Victoria didn't answer immediately. Something about him felt different. Still, she stood up. Opportunity didn't wait. As she approached his table, Chief Balogun looked at her fully for the first time. Not like a man admiring beauty, but like someone examining something valuable. "So," he said slowly, "you are Victoria." She smiled, confident. "And you already know my name." "In Lagos," he replied, "names like yours travel fast." Victoria sat down, crossing her legs smoothly. "I hope it's for good reasons." The chief's lips curved slightly. "That depends on where the name is going." The conversation that followed was strange. No sweet talk. No unnecessary compliments. Just questions. "Where are you from? What do you want from life? How far are you willing to go?" Victoria answered carefully, still playing her role, still confident. "I want to live well," she said at one point. "No stress. No suffering." The chief nodded slowly, as if confirming something in his mind. "Many people want that," he said. "Few understand the cost." Victoria laughed lightly. "Everything has a price." He looked at her again, longer this time. "Yes," he said quietly. "Everything." By the end of the night, he didn't touch her. Didn't make any bold move. He simply told the manager to take care of her table and asked for her number. Victoria gave it. The next morning, her phone buzzed. A credit alert. She sat up instantly. The amount made her blink twice. Jesus, she whispered. Before she could even process it, another message came in. Take care of yourself. CB. Minutes later, a delivery arrived. A designer bag she had once admired online. A new phone. A box of imported perfume. Anita rushed over when Victoria called her. Babe, show me, she screamed, grabbing the bag. This is original. Do you know how much this cost? Victoria smiled slowly, satisfaction rising in her chest. I told you. Lagos answers when you know how to ask. From that day, Chief Balogun became different from every man in her life. He didn't chase her. He didn't argue. He didn't talk too much. He simply provided. Money appeared. Gifts arrived. Opportunities opened. But there were rules. If he called, she must answer. If he sent for her, she must come. No pictures. No posting. No unnecessary questions. At first, Victoria didn't like the control. But every time she considered stepping back, something expensive would land in her hands. And slowly, she adjusted. One evening, while getting ready in her room, Anita watched her carefully. Babe, she said, this man, you trust him. Victoria paused slightly. I don't need to trust him, she replied. I just need to benefit. Anita frowned. Still, he's too quiet. Those ones are not normal. Victoria shrugged, picking up her perfume. All rich men are not normal. But deep down, there was something she hadn't said out loud. Something small. Something she kept pushing aside. Because each time Chief Balogun looked at her, it didn't feel like admiration. It felt like ownership. Pack your things, Chief Balogun said over the phone, his voice calm as always. You need rest. Come to my place outside Lagos. Victoria hesitated. Outside Lagos, she repeated. Yes, he replied. A private estate. Quiet. You'll like it. She glanced at herself in the mirror, adjusting her hair slightly. Okay, she said after a pause. But the moment the call ended, Anita grabbed her arm. Babe, think well or outside Lagos. With that kind of man. Victoria rolled her eyes. Relax. It's just a weekend. Anita shook her head. I don't like it. That man is too controlled. Too silent. Those ones have the most money, Victoria cut in, smirking. Don't worry. I know what I'm doing. But as she packed her bags that evening, something uneasy settled in her chest. Still, she ignored it. Money didn't wait for fear. The drive to the estate was long. As the car moved further away from the busy part of Lagos, the environment changed. Fewer cars. More trees. Quieter roads. By the time they reached the tall iron gate, Victoria's excitement had already started fading into something else. The gate opened slowly. The compound was massive. Too massive. Tall trees lined the driveway like silent guards. The house itself stood at the center, grand and imposing, but strangely lifeless. Victoria stepped out of the car, her heels clicking softly against the ground. No music. No laughter. No life. Just silence. A maid came forward and carried her bag without saying a word. Inside the house, everything looked expensive, but cold. Thick curtains blocked most of the sunlight. Old portraits hung on the walls, their eyes seeming to follow movement. In one corner, Victoria noticed strange carvings placed beside a brass pot. She frowned slightly. This place is quiet, she said. Chief Baligan appeared behind her. Peaceful, he corrected. Victoria forced a smile. That night, dinner was calm. Too calm. The chief asked her questions again, about her life, her dreams, her past. Do you want to be rich forever? He asked. Victoria laughed lightly. Of course. And what would you give to keep it? She waved her hand. Anything reasonable. He nodded slowly, like a man hearing confirmation. Good, he said. Later that night, Victoria returned to her room. She showered, changed, and dropped her clothes on a chair, too tired to arrange them properly. Sleep came quickly. But it wasn't peaceful. She dreamed of water. Dark water. She was standing in it, alone, while distant drums echoed around her. When she woke up, her heart was racing. Just a dream, she muttered. She got up and began getting dressed. Then she froze. One of her lace pants was missing.
Where is my pant?
She searched the bed, the chair, her bag, the bathroom. Nothing. Victoria frowned, irritation rising. Hello, she called out, stepping into the hallway. Is anybody here? A maid appeared almost immediately. Yes, Ma. Did you clean my room? Yes, Ma. My pant is missing. The maid's face remained blank. I don't know, Ma. Victoria stared at her. How can you not know? Something just disappeared. I don't know, Ma, the maid repeated. Victoria hissed under her breath and went back inside. The whole thing felt strange. Unsettling. Later that afternoon, she mentioned it to Chief Baligan. Something is missing from my room, she said casually. Your house is swallowing things. The chief looked at her. Then slowly. He smiled. Not warm. Not amused. Something darker. Some things don't get lost, he said quietly. They get taken. Victoria's smile faded slightly. Taken. By who? He held her gaze. By where they are needed. A chill ran down her spine. For the first time since she met him, Victoria felt afraid. By where they are needed. Those words followed Victoria all the way back to Lagos. She didn't wait for the weekend to end. By the next morning, she was already dressed, bags packed, voice firm. I have to go back, she told Chief Baligan. He didn't argue. He only nodded, handed her another envelope, and said, take care of yourself. The way he said it made her skin crawl. During the drive back, Victoria tried to shake off the feeling. It's nothing, she muttered to herself. You're just overthinking. But deep down, something had already shifted. And from that week, her life began to change. At first, it was small. She felt tired. Not normal tired, heavy tired. The kind that sleep couldn't fix. She would wake up in the morning feeling like she hadn't rested at all. Then her appetite dropped. Food that once excited her now made her uncomfortable. Even her favorite meals tasted bland. Then came the heat. At night, her body burned. She would throw off her blanket, switch on the AC, even open windows, but the heat came from inside her, not outside. Victoria went to a hospital. Tests were done. Malaria, the doctor said first. She took the drugs. Nothing changed. Another test. Typhoid. More drugs. Still nothing. Days turned into weeks. Her condition worsened. Her once glowing skin became dull. Her eyes sank slightly. Her body felt weak, like something was slowly draining her from within. And then, the dreams started. Strange dreams. She would see herself standing in a dark river, water rising slowly to her chest. She would hear distant drums beating, slow, heavy, echoing. Sometimes she saw Chief Balogun standing far away, watching her, holding something in his hand. Red, small, familiar. She would wake up sweating, heart pounding. Jesus, she whispered one night, clutching her chest. Fear entered her life quietly, but it stayed. Victoria tried to distract herself. She called some of the men who used to spoil her. No answer. She messaged another. Busy, he replied. Another one blocked her. Within weeks, the same men who once couldn't stay away from her suddenly had no time. Even when she went out, people looked at her differently. Not admiration. Concern. Is that Victoria? Someone whispered at a salon. She looks different. Victoria heard it. And it cut deeper than any insult. One evening, Anita came over and froze at the door. Babe, she said slowly, stepping inside. What's going on? Victoria was sitting on the floor, no makeup, hair tied back carelessly, her face looking thinner than usual. I don't know, she said weakly. Anita sat beside her immediately. You've gone to hospital. Everywhere, Victoria replied. Nothing is working. Silence filled the room. Then Victoria said it. I think that man did something to me. Anita's head snapped up. What man? Chief Balogun. The name alone changed the air. What do you mean? Anita asked carefully. Victoria swallowed. That pant, it disappeared in his house. Since then, everything has been wrong. Anita stood up instantly, pacing. Jesus Christ. Victoria, why didn't you say this since? I didn't believe it myself. Victoria cried. I thought it was just normal sickness. Anita stopped, her face filled with fear. That man has rumors, she said quietly. I've heard things before, women, strange things, but I thought it was just talk. Victoria's eyes filled with tears. I'm scared. For the first time since she started her soft life, Victoria felt something she had avoided for years. Helplessness. That night, she made a call she had been avoiding. Mommy, she said, her voice breaking. Please, come. Mama Titi arrived the next day. The moment she saw her daughter, she didn't speak. She just sat down slowly. Victoria looked nothing like the confident girl who had left weeks before. She looked drained. What happened? Her mother asked quietly. Victoria broke. She told her everything. The men. The gift. The chief. The estate. The missing pant. The sickness. The dreams. Everything. Mama Titi listened in silence. When Victoria finished, the room felt heavy. Then her mother spoke. My daughter, she said softly, there are things in this world you don't play with. Victoria burst into tears. Mommy, I don't want to die. Mama Titi held her hand tightly. You will not die, she said firmly. But her eyes were filled with something deeper than fear. They were filled with knowing. Because she already understood what Victoria was just beginning to realize. This was no ordinary sickness. And ordinary solutions would not fix it. I don't want to die. Victoria's voice was barely above a whisper, but the fear inside it filled the entire room. Mama Titi tightened her grip on her daughter's hand. You will not die, she repeated firmly. But now, you must listen. No more pride. No more hiding. Victoria nodded weakly. That same day, they began searching for help. First, a herbalist in Ikorodu. He burned incense, chanted quietly, and shook his head many times. Strong case, he said. Very strong. He gave them mixtures, told Victoria to bathe with certain leaves, and warned her not to eat outside food. Victoria followed everything. Nothing changed. Next, an offer recommended by a neighbor. He listened carefully, scribbled on paper, and gave her water to drink. Enemies are many, he said. Still, nothing changed. Then a prophetess in motion. She shouted, prayed loudly, and told Victoria to bring candles, white cloth, and special oil. They spent money. They prayed. They waited. Nothing changed. Each place had answers. Each place had confidence. But none had results. Victoria grew weaker. Her body felt like it was slowly shutting down. Even standing became difficult. At night, the dreams returned, louder, clearer. She saw the estate again. The room. The brass bowl. And inside it, her missing lace pant. She saw Chief Baligan standing over it, whispering words she couldn't understand, his voice deep and controlled. She would wake up screaming. One night, after another failed prayer session, Victoria sat in front of a cracked mirror in her mother's house. She stared at her reflection. She didn't recognize herself anymore. The hottest girl in Lagos now looked like a shadow. Her cheekbones were too sharp. Her eyes looked tired. Her skin had lost its glow. She touched her face slowly. "How did I get here?" she whispered. Her mother, standing behind her, answered gently. "One step at a time." Victoria closed her eyes, tears falling silently. For the first time, she wasn't thinking about money, or beauty, or men. She was thinking about life. The next morning, an old woman who sold vegetables nearby came to visit Mama Titi. After hearing everything, she shook her head slowly. "You people are looking everywhere," she said. "But you haven't gone to the right place." Mama Titi leaned forward. "Where?" The woman replied calmly. "Mercy Fire Revival Center." Victoria didn't argue. She was too tired to doubt anything anymore. When they arrived, the church looked simple. No fancy decorations. No loud display. Just a quiet building with plastic chairs and people praying sincerely. Victoria stepped inside slowly. And something strange happened. For the first time in weeks, she felt calm. Not healed. Not strong. But calm. A woman approached them. Plain clothes. No show. No noise. "Welcome," she said softly. "Sit down." That was Pastor Ino. Victoria sat quietly throughout the service, tears falling without control. Nobody mocked her. Nobody stared at her. Nobody treated her like a spectacle. They simply prayed. After the service, Pastor Ino took her aside. "Tell me everything," she said. Victoria did. No pride. No excuses. No hiding. When she finished, Pastor Ino nodded slowly. "You opened doors you didn't understand," she said. "But those doors can be closed." Victoria's lips trembled. "Can I still be free?" Pastor Ino looked at her with calm certainty. Yes. That single word lit something inside Victoria. For the first time since everything started, she felt hope. And deep down, she knew this was different. Because this time, nobody was asking for money. Nobody was scaring her. Nobody was guessing. They were simply ready to fight for her. And Victoria was finally ready to be saved.